What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jimmy Talks. So, if you go outside and you look around, I know touching grass and going outside, it's really scary, but sometimes we got to do it. But if you go outside and you start looking at people, they all have fluoride stares and they're completely asleep and they just look like stupid ass Goyim. They are people, but they're really just like kind of a biological machine that is running on a script. They're like an AI chatbot and they're written by people who harbor absolute contempt for them. So when I'm talking about the Goyim, this is what I mean by the Goyim. It has nothing to do with where you're actually from. Like, I'm not going to get serious about the word, but it has everything to do with people's lack of agency. So to be a Goy in this sense is to act as the ultimate NPC. So to be a Goy is to be a programmable drone, so to say, who just consumes slop, eats slop, just nonstop piggy trough slop all the time. Hey, I'm sick. I need some prescribed slop on board. I need to turn on the slop on the TV. Maybe I can play a $20 indie game slop on Steam that was probably made by a tranny. So, anyways, let's get into it. If you want to reclaim your sovereignty, stop doing these 20 Goyim things. Number one, road rage. You are sitting in a metal box and you are jacking up your cortisol and you are screaming at a stranger because you are trapped in a concrete commuter hellscape. It is just pathetic. It's a complete loss of emotional frame. You are letting the stress of modern urban living totally hollow out your stoicism. It's what you should have. So true sovereignty means recontrolling your state of mind, to be totally honest, not even trying to be funny. Don't get road rage. It's really embarrassing. Think about it this way: if you are reacting with blind anger at traffic from niggas you don't even know, it just proves that the environment owns you. So stop getting baited into low IQ rage. All right, next one, number two, being on social media too much. Your attention span is being systematically harvested by these tech companies that hate you and they want to put an AI chip in your brain. And if you disrespect them or you say Israel's bad, they're going to pull that chip out of your brain and just turn your fucking mind off. Okay. So every single time you doom scroll, you are feeding an algorithm, an evil algorithm that's designed to keep you anxious and always pissed off, permanently distracted. It's sedating you from the real world. Social media operates as a dopamine drip. Like if you think of an IV, somebody getting medicine in the hospital, it's just slowly over time. That is the same thing. It's a dopamine drip, but it's actually not good for you. It's not medicine. So it gives you the illusion of action and community while you sit entirely alone in a dark room. How many niggas have you seen online? They're on Discord. They're like, I just have so many friends. I love you guys. But then at the same time, they want to kill themselves every single day. It's because the community is not actually real. Like, it's kind of real, but it's not going to replace anything in person. You need to log off and go build something tangible in the real world. Now, next, number three, paying too much attention to the current thing. I'm not even talking about Goyim current things. There's also, like, again, this is the social media stuff. There's the current thing that's on the timeline as well that the algorithm's pushing on you. But anyways, the current thing, this is kind of like the hallmark of the absolute lowest tier NPC. Every few months, the media oligarch elite, pedophile elites drop a new software update for all of the Goyim so that they can install on their AI brain chip. So it puts a new flag in your bio. Like for a while in 2020, it was making your profile picture black. And then in June, it's all about being gay. And then in some other months and days, it's like, there's a new flag all the time. There's a new war to obsess over or a new pseudo crisis that doesn't really matter. It's designed to keep the masses in a state of terminal just scared, perpetual scariness. So stop letting the news cycle govern your emotional state. That is some Goyim ass shit. They just want to keep you distracted by the global theater so that you can ignore the slow collapse of your own local community. Sorry if I talk like a retard sometimes. I don't really like editing videos. I just do YouTube for fun. So if I'm stumbling over my words, I don't know. I'm just being a Goyim. Now, number four, next, being a consume product idiot. Consume product, get excited for the next product, and then go beat your meat and go on the hub or something like that. This is actually somebody's life, by the way. So we live in a society that attempts to replace spiritual fulfillment with some Funko Pops or some Warhammer 40K collection. It's shit that nobody cares about. In like 20 years, that's all going in the garbage. So Don't worry about it. Defining your personality as well by the brands that you wear, whatever that may be, or like the new kind of tech that you buy, or whatever you collect. It's kind of humiliating if you're a grown man. It's humiliating if you're an adult. Consumerism is just a trap that's designed to keep you perpetually working to buy garbage that you don't need. And it's a bunch of garbage you don't need that you're working hard for and spending all your time doing instead of having a family or at least creating your own wealth and capital that can sustain you and make you self reliant. So stop feeding these companies and being a goyim. Stop buying a bunch of shit you don't fucking need. If you're buying like survival prepper stuff, there's at least an argument for that. But even then, people go too far and they start consuming. So you really need to be careful. There can be things that you think are useful to buy, and they technically are, but you're doing too much. That would be like 10,000, 15,000 rounds of ammo. There's never too much ammo, but at a point, let's just be realistic. You know, maybe you need to buy food as well, and maybe you also need water. But anyways, that's kind of a sidetrack. Number 5 on not being a goyim. This is blindly trusting doctors and never questioning what they do. You have outsourced your own biology to a medical industrial complex that profits primarily from chronic illnesses. With chronic illness, chronic meaning it takes a long time. Ill means you need to keep getting treatment for it. That's not what illness means, but you get what I'm saying. It's a chronic illness. Stop treating people who wear doctors' lab coats like they're infallible priests of a brand new religion. And we've seen this during COVID. So no, I'm not just being a little bit extra when I say that. These people, they will treat doctors like they are God himself, and they'll just listen to everything they say. You shouldn't trust every single doctor. I'm not saying all doctors are stupid and you shouldn't listen to them. And if you have like cancer or something, maybe you should just listen to the doctor when it comes to that kind of serious stuff. But just listening to every single pill they want to throw on you, like if you're a woman and they're trying to throw birth control pills at you, I don't know, probably not the greatest idea ever. There's a lot of problems with statins as well, the drugs that are called statins. We had the biggest one that everybody knows about is the safe and effective COVID jabs, which definitely were not safe and effective. If you are pure blood, put an 07 in the chat, please. If you got it, I mean, I don't hold it against you. It was a confusing, scary time. I like to give people grace. But anyways, take ownership of your physical well-being. Don't be a little goyim for the pharmaceutical companies. Dr. Fauci, you guys remember that fucking video that kid made? That's so cringe. All right, number 6 on not being a goyim. This is being a conspiritard. This is like a false awakening for a lot of people. You realize that the system is corrupt, but instead of focusing on like a real world, tangible, actionable solution, you know, like building a family or networking locally with people, or at least just getting fit at the bare minimum. A lot of people fall down rabbit holes of like schizo tier psyops, like flat earth, reptilians, and just disjointed numerology. A lot of these things are just cognitive sinkholes. You're just wasting your fucking time. They are designed to make dissidents look insane and keep you spinning your wheels in paranoia at all times. Everything, the sky is blue because the Jews made it that way. This is how some of you people are. I heard one of them saying Epstein was trying to make dinosaurs so that he could kill people. What the fuck are you talking about? So you need to start grounding yourself in objective truth, observable truth, and reality, and act on what you can actually change. Now, number 7 on not being a goyim, smoking weed. There is a reason that the regime is legalizing and heavily taxing weed everywhere. Now, do I think weed is the worst thing ever? Honestly, no. It's not the worst thing ever. It can be used medicinally, but it's not. It's mostly just abused. If you smoke weed once a year, just like chilling with your homies, that's kind of one thing. But like people smoke weed 4 or 5 times a day. It's just kind of the modern opiate of the masses. It just makes you lethargic. It makes you complacent. It makes you kind of numb. I know weed cells are going to be coping in the comments, and they'll probably stop listening to the video after this. You know what? It's okay. I'm here to give you the hard red pill that you don't want to hear, but you should probably not be smoking weed. It makes you a fucking loser. So a population of a bunch of stoners is incapable of mounting any serious resistance to their own demographic and economic replacement. That's why I say those things, because it just kind of kills your temperament. Weed kills your drive. It also makes you act like you're low T over time, and it just turns you into a passive observer of your own life. So I don't think you should smoke weed. Number 8 on not being a goyim. This is not reading your Bible. You cannot defend Western civilization if you do not know basically how it was built. So if you're abandoning the foundational text of the most important things that you'll ever read in your life, and it's leaving you spiritually adrift, and it's leaving you vulnerable to negative and evil forces like the fake morals of the synthetic society that we live in, this modern age stuff, you're fucking up if you don't read the Bible. The Bible provides the objective anchor for natural law and masculine duty and family structure. Even if you view it purely from a historical or even like a heritage perspective, neglecting the book that forged everything that we live in is a massive failure. You're being a Goyim if you don't read the Bible. Now, number 9 on not being a Goyim, using all your energy working for a corporation and not having a family. This is super Goyish. You are spending 40 hours. Guys, I'm here. I get here early for the team. I skip lunch for the team. You're a Goyim. You are voluntarily wage cucking your existence if you are way too focused on your job and just not having a family. If you are spending the best years of your life grinding out for a corporation, not building your own thing, and if you're just out here to make money, that's one thing. That's a little bit different. But I'm talking about like the LinkedIn type of niggas. So cringe. If you're grinding for a massive, faceless, multinational company that really just doesn't give a fuck about you being a white Christian, like it hates your demographics. It's not necessarily or specifically about you being a white Christian. It could be anything, but they just hate your demographics. You get what I'm saying? But it mostly is like the real answer is they hate white people and they hate Christianity. What's the point of climbing all that ladder if you go home to an empty apartment for a company that hates you? It's just soul sucking you away. Your bloodline ends with you, so you can make a CEO slightly richer. Think about that. Don't do that. You should redirect your energy into building a family, or at least not putting in so much effort at these jobs because they'll throw you away. They will throw you away in a second. True legacy, in my opinion, is biological. It's not working for a corporate company. Now, number 10 on how to not be a goy. Being a woke libtard. This is the ultimate expression of being captured by elites that hate you. Because if you're a libtard and you're woke, you're just an idiot. If you are adopting the egalitarian anti-nature ideology of the modern left, it means you have just internalized everything that's designed to destroy you. The only thing being a woke libtard does is destroy everything that's good and godly and promote everything that's designed to destroy you. Being a woke libtard is an ideology that demands the subversion of traditional gender roles, erasing all of a country's borders, and totally dismantling any unit of merit. Like DEI stuff is what I'm talking about there. So if you are infected with this mind virus, please go. Never mind. I'm not going to say that on YouTube. But just know you're actively participating in the demolition of everything that's good in the world. Now, number 11 on how to not be a Goyim, still believing it is Democrats versus Republicans. The two-party system is a theatrical production that's put on by the Uniparty to keep all of the peasant Goyim retards fighting amongst themselves. Both sides of the aisle still vote to fund Israel endlessly. Both sides still want to bomb any country that we really shouldn't be bombing. Both of them want to print out a bunch of money. Both of them want to bring in a bunch of the third world so that they can make a new slave class or a new voting bloc. And both sides serve the interests, of global finance. So if you are doing this lesser of two evils nonsense, like I've got to vote Republican no matter what, you're probably just a Goyim and you need to go suck on a pacifier because you're a stupid baby and you need to shut the fuck up. All right, number 12 on how to not be a Goyim is glorifying degeneracy. We live in an era that elevates the lowest, most base human behaviors to the status of a virtue. One of the biggest, most Goyim degenerate behaviors is OnlyFans. Don't really need to go further than that. Everybody knows that that's pretty degenerate. As well as celebrating hookup culture like Tinder, and also beating your meat on the hub like watching porn. And then also the destruction of the nuclear family and like being a tranny. This is all civilizational suicide. Degeneracy is fundamentally about immediate self-gratification at the expense of long-term social stability. So if you are consuming or applauding all this cultural trash, you are feeding the exact decay that makes your nation weak. Don't play into degeneracy. It feels really good when you don't do that. It's good for the soul. I promise you. Like, I'm being kind of funny in this video, but I really do mean that. Please Don't get into that stuff. I truly mean that. All right, now back to business. How to not be a goy. Number 13. Being dependent on the system and being totally incapable of survival outside of the grid. Look at your life right now. Okay, so if the power shuts off and the digital supply chains break down or the banks freeze your digital assets, how long would you actually survive? The modern NPC relies entirely on the state and corporate monopolies for their water and their food and their warmth and their protection. So you actually shouldn't be relying on anybody but yourself for that stuff. You need to reclaim some practical skills. You should 100,000% learn how to grow food, purify water, shoot a gun accurately up to at least 300 yards. You need to know how to do some basic stuff with cars. Honestly, like changing your headlights, changing your oil, changing spark plugs, stuff like that. You should know. It's I don't really expect the average goy to be able to like do an engine swap. That's a little bit too extra, but you should know the basic stuff. Changing a tire, like that. You should also know basic like defense tactics, like carrying a gun and all that. You should have a generator at your house as well. So yeah, helplessness. It's just kind of a choice. You need to have your ducks in a row. It's like, oh, I wish I was prepared. It's expensive, so I don't want to do it. It's like, okay, well, when the time comes knocking at the door, then you're cooked. That's really all it is. Now, number 14 on not being a goyim is consuming fast food and ultra processed slop. You are fueling your body with industrial seed oils, high fructose corn syrup, and microplastics. You are a goyim. This diet destroys your endocrine system. It totally tanks your test and it floods your brain and the rest of your body with inflammation. The system feeds you cheap synthetic garbage. Everybody knows it as literal goyslop because a sick, fat, low energy population has no spirit to actually fight for anything that's worth fighting for. You need to be eating whole foods. You need to be eating more meat in general. You need more steaks. And to even be even better with it, you should be buying local meat, from a farmer or something like that. And you should stop treating your stomach like it's a chemical waste bin. Stop being a fucking goyim with the food that you eat. All right, number 15 on how to not be a goyim, wasting your life watching sports and playing games like 2K. If you play 2K and you watch sports and you have sports jerseys, I hate you. Video games and professional sports are modern bread in circuses. These just hijack your innate masculine desire for conquest and tribal loyalty and being a conquistador and physical struggle. And it just redirects it into like a meaningless digital screen. Bunch of dudes in tights making millions of dollars who don't know you and they don't give a fuck about you. And by the time they're done with the NFL or something like that, they probably have brain damage and they're going to spend all their money and they're going to be broke in like 5 years anyways. Why are you cheering for all that? That shit's fucking weird. Playing sports is different. That's totally fine. But being a total goyim and like doing fantasy football, I don't know. You need to reevaluate your priorities. I don't even want to be a purity spiraler. I hate them. I guess I'm kind of doing that right now. But anyways, number 16 on how to not be a goyim. Apologizing for your ancestors and your heritage. So what the problem is here is that the regime wants you demoralized and they mandate that you view the history of your people strictly through the lens of guilt and shame. This is what gay race communists do, and you shouldn't listen to anything that they do because a lot of them are also backers of Zionism, whether they know it or not. And I'm not going to go further with it than that. If you know, then you know. But anyways, stop participating in this psychological warfare because your ancestors have built something amazing. They have built the modern world and they've conquered wild frontiers and they've made a bunch of different stuff. They've survived unimaginable hardship to give you life. So stand tall and honor their sacrifices. This doesn't mean you need to go around hating everybody because I actually think that is also quite silly. But what you should be doing is honoring your ancestors and being proud of them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And you should never yield an inch to the people demanding you bend the knee for crimes you didn't commit. Like I've had people comment on my nationalism videos. They're like, oh, this guy, he just wants to like kill all the black people and shit. It's like, no, actually, I don't even know what you're talking about. Putting words in my mouth and saying all these horrible things about me. Anyways, that's kind of what I'm talking about. They try to make you like bend the knee for crimes that you didn't commit. I think that's a pretty silly. Now, all right, number 17 for not being a goyim. This one, it has some nuance to it, but it's existing in a terminal, cowardly fear of being canceled. This is kind of a Goyim thing to be afraid to say things. Now, it's different when I'm on YouTube. I simply don't want to get banned. I want to keep making content for you all, but you shouldn't be afraid of being called certain words. It just doesn't really matter anymore because so many men understand the truth of what is happening to the world, but they bite their tongues because they're terrified of like their sister being mean to them about it, or like a woke libtard coworker being mad about it. Now, there is a little bit there. You should hide your power level to an extent. It depends on your situation, but you need to be the judge of that in your own life. I'm not going to really get into specifics, but what I am going to say is that cowardice is contagious, but so is courage. If you constantly censor yourself to appease people who hate you, you are living as a slave. Speak the truth boldly, because your real brothers and sisters will find you once you stop hiding. All right, back to business. Not being a Goyim, number 18, outsourcing your kids' minds to the state. I don't know how many of my viewers went to public school, but if you went to public school, I remember one time there was kids that were smoking a bowl of weed like in the lunchroom. They just passed it around underneath the cafeteria table. Of course, they got caught, but this is just like the state of public schools. It's just total nasty shit. Kids going to the bathroom and like smoking cigarettes. It's not like the worst thing ever, but it's just like your kids really shouldn't be around that. These are government-run public schools. They're 8 hours a day. You have just a whole bunch of insane shit going on. A lot of these kids are actually indoctrinated by the very people accelerating civilizational collapse. A lot of teachers are just genuine pieces of shit. They've been stuck in the libtard leftist sphere for such a long time when it comes to the education sector that they just keep on acting like that and they think it's normal. If you do this and you have to go to public school, you send your kids there, maybe you can't afford private school. I understand things happen, but you should be aware that this is kind of like NPC brain rot Goyim supreme factories. They're just churning them out left and right here. I don't think it's a good idea to hand over your wife, which is your children, over to the regime and then act surprised when they come back hating their faith and their family and their country. You should look into homeschooling or private schools. These things, of course, there's nuance to everything, but I think public schools are just a fucking disaster. Now, number 19 for not being a Goyim. This is embracing the black pill and doomerism. One of the most important ones here. I probably should have put this near the top of the list, but if you've made it this far, you're probably cool as fuck, and you probably agree with me on most things. If you don't, then I don't know, sucks to suck, go cry about it. Anyways, I'm talking about libtards there and like gay race communists. Anyways, and Zionists as well. Don't want to forget that. Giving up is the easiest thing in the world. It is. It's easy. Just do it. Just don't give a fuck. Sitting online and complaining about how it's actually so over, it might feel validating, but it is ultimately entirely useless. I really hate the black pill mentality, and I always have. Doomerism is just another tool to keep you pacified. It's really just a weakening thing. It rationalizes your failure to act. Men in the past faced plagues and like world wars and societal collapse, and they didn't give up. So you need to have some fucking resilience and grab life by the balls. And if you don't, then it's over for you then because you're too weak to do anything about it. Pick yourself up and start doing something. There's problems with the world. Yes, I get it. I'm not saying that you're never going to struggle. But if you're just giving up, that's what I have a problem with. Hard times are not an excuse to fail. They are the exact conditions that will forge you into a great man, I promise you. If you want me to help you, I will help you. But if you don't want me to help you, I'm not going to. You can only lead a horse to water. You can't force it to drink. Now for the last thing of how to not be a Goyim, number 20, consuming more than you create. The ultimate NPC trait, in my opinion, is being passive. This is kind of just gay. It's kind of like woman behavior, to be honest. You watch movies that you didn't make. You're eating food that you didn't grow. And you're also working in buildings you didn't build. And you're reciting opinions that you didn't actually form yourself. To break the cycle of the Goyim mindset, you must flip this ratio and just start creating more things. It doesn't even have to be that deep. You can literally just journal your thoughts down more often. And that's creating something. It's something. Okay. It doesn't have to be a grand, massive, society changing civilizational event. But you should just make a garden. just go out and try it. Even if it's only like some basil, it's something easy. Basil's really easy to grow. Mint is really easy to grow. That's what I started off with because it is easy to grow. I didn't know anything about gardening. I just wanted to do it though. So those were the first things I started off with. I have trouble with strawberries. I can't seem to keep them alive. Anyways, um, flipping furniture, that's something I did for a little bit. It's kind of time consuming though. Uh, but anyways, yeah, start doing things. Just go out and do things. Okay. All right. So that's really the top 20 how to not be a Goyim list. This video was longer than I thought it was going to be. And honestly, guys, I just haven't really wanted to make a video for a little bit. I've just been focused on real life and some other things, some new developments in my life that are really affecting me that I care deeply about. So I've just been kind of focusing on that. I've also been trying to be a better Christian because I've been falling away from that. So that's a little bit personal. I don't want to get into that. So yeah, I just haven't really been interested in making a video, but I was just cleaning my house up and I was like, I need to give the people something. I need to make something. And I wanted to make a video is like top 20 Goyim things on what not to do. So you're not going to be a Goyim. So that's why I made this video. If you've made it this far, though, I would recommend following me on Rumble and following me on Twitter. And it's not like a self-plug thing. I mean, it is, but it's more like YouTube might ban me because I'm talking about like trannies and Goyim on YouTube. They just don't really like those kinds of things. So follow me on Rumble in case they ban me because right now we're kind of in like the free speech. I don't say free speech era. It's still not to an extent, but let's look back at like the Biden times. You were getting banned off social media. Like the censorship was a lot harsher under Biden. So I think we're probably going to go back to a Democrat president whenever Trump's out. And I think they're going to start cracking the whip on people a lot harder, just like they were before. They're gonna fucking do some crazy shit when they're back in office. So yeah, follow me on Rumble, follow me on Twitter. If you like the content, if you want to support the channel, it's Patreon for $5 a month. You don't have to. You're going to get the content anyways. I'm not sponsored by all these corporate bullshit slop stuff. So I just get ad revenue and Patreon money. So, all right, guys, that's all for me today. God bless you and your families. America first and America only. Jimmy Talks out.